it obviously means he's like an incredibly tenacious person. He's very driven. He's obviously has kind of a streak of egotism, because I don't think you can go that far unless you kind of have, like, I've always thought that the best thing an artist can have is like a healthy streak of delusion. And obviously Eminem had a healthy streak of delusion. Otherwise he would have quit. And I think when he touched on Slim Shady, that was his way of like kind of developing this character that, you know, hip hop hadn't seen before.
Could you briefly tell us where one stops and the other one begins, and the difference between the three different characters?
Marshall Mathers stops when the Bacardi kicks in, and then it's Slim Shady. Eminem starts when I hit the stage, so it's the best way I know how to answer that.
Through his Slim Shady persona, Eminem wrote and recorded violent and dark songs with a comical twist, revealing the darker side of his nature.
The whole concept of alter egos is not foreign to hip-hop, and a lot of rappers have taken on these other identities to basically say what they really want to say. But Eminem really made an art out of it. He took feelings that were his own, put them into a caricature, and put them out to the world, so that if they infuriated you, you weren't necessarily mad at Marshall Mathers. You were mad at Slim Shady.
Slim Shady allowed Eminem to get a little bit of distance and take more chances in terms of like what, you know, his subject matter, in terms of talking about what was going on in his life.
When you buy a Slim Shady album, you're gonna get Slim Shady. You're not gonna get birds and bees and flowers and trees. You're gonna get up you suck it. That's what you're gonna get, because that's what I'm about. And I don't feel like I have to compromise my style for nobody. You know, just because MTV or BET might pick up on a video, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. You know, if my shit does have some type of mass appeal to it, then that's good. You know what I'm saying? It reaches a wider audience, but I don't try to compromise myself for nobody.
After the Infinite album, he came out with the Slim Shady EP, and that was the first example of him using this character, and he really started coming into his own, and that EP really got people talking.
It became an underground phenomenon. I remember hearing him getting played on like late night mix shows on Power 106. And the interesting thing about Eminem at the time was you didn't know if he was a white guy or a black guy. You just turned him on the radio and you're like, wow, that was a really interesting song. It was this self-deprecating, weird character who was kind of always out for retribution, but just getting beaten up and stuffed in the locker.
The Slim Shady EP made its way to rap meister Dr. Dre, who instantly recognized Eminem's genius.
Dr. Dre, when he, you know, backs you, I mean, that's about as big of a cosign as you could possibly have. This was right around the time 2001 came out. He was still a guy you see for a hit.
It's like, okay, yeah, thanks Eminem, but Dr. Dre!
A lot of people at first were kind of talking to him about, well, should he be taking on a white guy? And Dre said, well, this guy is just too good. I can't let him go.
It would have been a lot easier for Dre to dismiss me like most people did. What's with the white guy from Detroit that raps with a funny voice? But he didn't. He stepped up to the challenge because he saw something in me. And for that, Dre, I'm forever grateful, man.
Eminem needed kind of that cosign, because otherwise no one was going to take a rapper very seriously. But how could you not take, you know, the man that did nothing but a G thing seriously?
What did you think of each other, honestly?
I thought he was a He probably thought worse than me.
I thought he was Tweety Bird. No, because he had this real bright yellow sweatsuit on.
Man, if I hear one more thing about that great black sweatsuit, I had this yellow outfit on when I first met Dre. It was like this outfit that a clothing company had given me, and I didn't have money like some people had at the time. You know, so I was going on a week wearing it, so it was actually turning kind of green. But he called me a banana when he met me, so it was on from there.
But what made the relationship between Dr. Dre and Eminem so special?
Once I met Dre, it was kind of like I had a vision of where I wanted to take it, and Dre just showed me how to take it there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we both had the same, like vision for myself, you know, where to take it and whatnot. And Dre just showed me how to execute it.
Shortly after signing with Dr. Dre, Eminem released an album that was to become a worldwide smash hit.
Hey, we gotta do it.
Yeah, you got.
I remember hearing it and thinking it was fun. It was dark, but it had a sense of humor to it. It had like a sort of wink to it. And it made a huge impact. It really came at a very unexpected time. Grunge was already in the past, and I feel like the music industry was struggling to find a voice for the millennium, which ended up being rap rock. Eminem is a huge part of that, and the reason it became popular.
My name is what? Excuse me. My name is...
The first thing is like, okay, what's this guy? This guy's name's Eminem. Okay, he's a white guy. Like, Dr. Dre's in this video. It's just like one of those moments where you just remember exactly where you were when you first see it. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I like this or not, but this guy is going to be huge.
Hi, kids. Do you like Primus? Yeah, wanna see me stick 9-inch nails to each one of my eyelids?
Visually, musically, in any aspect, unlike anything I'd ever seen before.
It's like his ID badge, you know? It's like, here is what makes up the rapper that I am today. And he didn't hold anything back, you know? And nobody was safe from the wrath of Eminem.
I was surprised, yeah, when My Name Is blew up. I didn't know exactly what it was going to do. I mean, this was my first time, you know, actually doing this or whatever. It was my first time exposed to the public, and I never considered myself anything more than an underground artist. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the subject matters I talk about and the way that I rap or whatever, the things that I talk about, I thought, you know, I was surprised, to be honest.
It was the beginning of, I'm going to tell it like it is. And my name is Slim Shady. And this is why I can tell it, because it's not Marshall Mathers. It's this other person who can pass judgment on the industry and what's happening in music and what's happening in the world.
There's always a deeper meaning people think behind when I say but it's not. It really means when I say up.
In 1999, Eminem created Shady Records. It was a discerning business move, enabling the rapper to own all the rights to his music and lyrics.
Most rappers, when they reach the level that he has or even lower than that, they, you know, like to diversify. They get into, you know, clothing lines, they get into restaurants. You know, and Eminem didn't really do a lot of that, but he did start his own record label, Shady Records, in conjunction with Aftermath, which was the label that signed him.
Eminem's mom, Debbie, also sued him for around $10 million that year over alleged slander about her and his lyrics. In 2001, she is said to have won $1,600 in damages. And it wasn't just Debbie that was giving Marshall grief. In 1999, after 10 years of an on-off relationship with Kim, the couple got married. But only a year later, the storm clouds were gathering.
They had a very tortured relationship with Kim, but if you look at it closely, I mean, he went back to her like 3 or 4 times. So there's obviously like a sincere romantic streak there. I don't know if you can really categorize him as a misogynist. I think he's somebody that's been burned, and he'd been burned a lot of times. And I think that's probably jaundiced his view of not just women, but I think everything. But then all of a sudden he's the most famous rapper in the world. How is he going to have like a normal kind of relationship?
The Marshall Mathers LP was released in May 2000, breaking the record set by Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style as the fastest-selling hip-hop album.
The Marshall Mathers LP came not long after NSYNC broke the record for the most number of albums sold in a week, which is over 2 million albums. Marshall Mathers came in at 1.76 million in a week. I mean, those are like astronomical figures, and if anyone had any doubt as to his star power or where Eminem could potentially go as an artist, the Marshall Mathers LP kind of cemented the fact that he's here to stay.
The first single, called The Real Slim Shady, was a massive success.
The chorus is saying, "Will the real Slim Shady please stand up?" And basically what the whole song, the concept of the whole song was about was, you know, trying to say that there's a Slim Shady in all of us. Everybody has a shady side to him. So in the video, I'm asking, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? And everybody's standing up in the video because everybody's got a Slim Shady in them. I said that a long time ago when I came out with my first album. I feel like everybody has a shady side to them, and a side to them where they can be an asshole, you know. And Slim Shady is that asshole inside of me that comes out an awful lot.